Welcome to the Styla Olinda sew-along. Olinda is a loose woven dress, and it features a ruffled necktie. Locate both bodice pieces. Make sure the markings have been transferred from the pattern to the fabric. Finish the raw edges of the center back and the shoulders. Do not cut off any of the fabric while doing so. Lay one back bodice piece right side up. Place the other back bodice piece on top, right sides together. Align the neckline and bottom of the dress. Starting at the top marking and continuing down to the bottom of the dress, sew to attach with a 1/2 inch or 1.3 centimeter seam allowance. Press this seam open. Turn the back bodice right side up. Top stitch the opening using a 3/8 inch or 1 centimeter seam allowance. And then press. Lay the front bodice right side down. Sew a gathering stitch along the neckline between the two markings using a 1/4 inch or 0.6 centimeter seam allowance. Do not gather at this time. Lay the back bodice piece right side up. Place the front bodice piece on top, right sides together. Align the neckline and the shoulder curves. Starting at the neckline, sew to attach with a 1/2 inch or 1.3 centimeter seam allowance. Stop sewing at the transferred markings. Press these seams open. Turn the bodice right side out. Top stitch the arm opening using a 3/8 inch or 1 centimeter seam allowance and press. Repeat on the other sleeve. Turn the bodice wrong side out. Place the front bodice on the back bodice, right sides together. Align the sides, pin and clip to hold in place. Sew one side using a 1/2 inch or 1.3 centimeter seam allowance. Finish the seam and press the seam toward the back of the bodice. At this point, it might be helpful to use double-sided hem tape to mark the casing location. Place the tape between these markings just under the top casing marking. Locate the waist casing pieces. Place the waist casing pieces right sides together, aligning the sides. Sew to attach at one short side using a 1/2 inch or 1.3 centimeter seam allowance. Press the seams open. Press the two long edges 1/2 inch or 1.3 centimeters toward the center of the casing, wrong sides together. Lay the dress wrong side up. If the double-sided tape was used to mark the casing location, remove the backing and place the casing on the tape. If tape was not used, align the casing with the marks made and pin in place. Start pinning at the side seam. Continue between the markings until the raw unfinished side is reached. Make sure not to pin into the back bodice. The casing is slightly longer than the bodice. Turn the dress over so that the back is wrong side up. Continue pinning between the markings until the raw, unfinished side is reached. Make sure not to pin the front bodice. The casing is slightly longer than the bodice. Edge stitch along both folded edges to attach the casing to the dress. Cut the excess waist casing fabric. Use a bodkin or safety pin to thread the elastic through the waist casing. Use a zigzag stitch to secure the ends of the elastic. Turn the dress wrong side out. Place the back bodice onto the front bodice right sides together. Align the raw, unfinished side. Pin or clip to hold in place, and sew using a 1/2 inch or 1.3 centimeter seam allowance. Finish the seam and then press towards the back of the bodice. Top stitch the side seam of the arm opening in place, using a 3/8 inch or 1 centimeter seam allowance and a distance of 1 inch or 2.5 centimeters. Repeat on the other side. Locate the necktie with the ruffle main piece. Fold the short raw edge of the tie 1/2 inch or 1.3 centimeters wrong sides together. Press and then repeat on the other short raw edge of the tie. Press the two raw long edges 1/2 inch or 1.3 centimeters toward the center of the tie wrong sides together. Repeat all steps for the remaining necktie with the ruffle lining piece. Locate the neck ruffle piece. Fold the ruffle in half lengthwise, right sides together. Sew at both short ends with a 1/2 inch or 1.3 centimeter seam allowance. Trim the seam allowance to a 1/4 inch or 0.6 centimeters and clip the corners. Turn the ruffle right side out and press. Do not top stitch. Sew a gathering stitch along the long raw edge using a 1/4 inch or 0.6 centimeter seam allowance. Do not gather at this time. Locate the bodice and the necktie ruffle lining. Make sure the markings have been transferred from the pattern pieces to the necktie. Unfold the side of the tie with the marks. Pull the gathering stitch of the bodice neckline to gather the neckline to fit between the two markings on the tie. Align the neckline markings with the necktie. Make sure the gathers are distributed evenly, and then pin or clip the tie around the neck circumference. The right side of the tie will be facing the wrong side of the bodice neckline. Sew to attach with a 1/2 inch or 1.3 centimeter seam allowance, starting at one side of the back split, working around to the other. Pull the tie up and then press the seam toward the tie. Locate the neck ruffle. Gather the ruffle to fit the neckline. Make sure the gathers are distributed evenly. Unfold the tie lining. Place the ruffle onto the unfolded memory crease of the necktie lining. Align the ruffle with one side of the back split. Start pinning and working around to the other back slit. Sew to attach using a 1/2 inch or 1.3 centimeter seam allowance. Locate the necktie main. Unfold the memory crease and start pinning or clipping at one short end of the tie. The right side of the tie main will be facing the right side of the tie lining. Align the long raw edge of the tie main with the neckline opening and the necktie lining. Continue pinning and clipping the tie main. Stop pinning or clipping once the other short end of the tie is reached. Sew to attach the tie main using a 1/2 inch or 1.3 centimeter seam allowance. Pull the tie lining up. Press the seam toward the neck ruffle. Fold the tie main back up at the memory creases to enclose the raw seam of the neckline. Pin or clip in place and then top stitch around the opened part of the tie using a 1/8 inch or 0.3 centimeter seam allowance. Lay the back facing piece right side up. Place the front facing piece on top, right sides together. Align the short ends. Sew to attach with a 1/2 inch or 1.3 centimeter seam allowance. Locate the dress and facing. Finish all raw edges. Turn the dress wrong side out. Insert the facing into the dress, right sides together. Make sure that the front facing is touching the front bodice and the back facing is touching the back bodice. Pin or clip to hold in place and sew to attach with a 1/2 inch or 1.3 centimeter seam allowance. Turn the dress right side out and fold the facing inward at the dress, wrong sides together. Press and sew to secure the hem 1/8 of an inch or 0.3 centimeters from the edge. You've now finished sewing Styla's Olinda dress. Thank you for joining us for this Styla sew along, and we hope to see you next time.